Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for this chat between the Disability Services and Michigan Rehabilitation Services offices. Today, we have Yolanda Steele, who is a rehabilitation counselor with Michigan Rehabilitation Services, Judith Walker, the Disability Services Coordinator, and me, Kathy Sider, the Disability Services Testing Center and Alternative Formatting Coordinator. As we go through this presentation, feel free to use the chat located at the bottom of your screen to ask any questions, and we will get to them either during or at the end of the presentation. So please don't hesitate to ask any questions or provide any comments you would like. And at this time, I will turn it over to Yolanda to give us some more information about what kind of services Michigan Rehabilitation has for you.
Good morning. This morning, I wanted to share information about Michigan Rehabilitation Services as it relates to helping individuals who have a disability, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional disability, to find and maintain employment. I have a PowerPoint that's full of information here, but feel free to ask any questions that you may have as they come up. So, is Michigan Rehabilitation Services right for you? Well, let's explore that. Okay, so success is never a destination, it's a journey. And that statement is so true when it comes to Michigan Rehabilitation Services, because it's not a cookie cutter type of service. So it's tailored to the individual. Some services may take longer than others, and some may go by really quickly, but it's a journey. So it's not like I'm gonna go to MRS and everything will be taken care of. It's steps and processes and explorations that we will need to do to see what best fits your needs. My thing is not, I'm sorry, there you go. Okay, so Michigan Rehabilitation Services is set up with our mission, which is to assist individuals with disability to achieve employment and self-sufficiency. MRS assists people with disabilities to prepare for, find, and keep, it says a job, but I want to say a career, to keep employment. The steps to employment, which would include applying for services with MRS, determining your eligibility, which is basically just a form or something that we would get from your medical provider, mental health provider, whoever it is that can document your disability. The third thing we would do is career exploration, and that's when we'll either sit and talk or do examinations to see what are you really interested in, what is the best field to begin to explore and guide you to for employment needs and development. So development will include any training that may be needed for the MRS services for you to reach your goals, employment planning. So if you need licensure or anything like that, we will navigate all of those roads to make sure that you reach your next goal. Then it's the plan. And the plan is the services and steps that the participant and the counselor agrees that we're going to take these steps. These steps will cost this amount of money, but at the end of each one of these steps, the participant should reach this goal, and whatever your goal is. So if the goal is to become a veterinarian, then we'll carve out a plan for you to reach that goal, and then we'll follow each step through. Here again, it says find a job. We'll find you a career, somewhere where you can begin entry or wherever your skill level is and possibly grow. Within those services, we provide advocacy if needed, additional assistance if needed. And we work with you through 90 days once you're employed, and then we close your MRS case. Closure of your case does not mean your counselor is no longer available to you. It just means that we won't be so hands-on, but we're still just a phone call away. One of the most important things to discuss about MRS is we are not an emergency relief agency, but never have an emergency problem and not share it with your counselor. It's helpful to know that we're there to help you with community resources and guide you to whoever or whatever you need. Judith, if you don't mind, if you could share some experience you had working with me. I have a slight issue I need to address. Thank you.
Yep. So yes, Yolanda has been great to work with through Michigan Rehabilitation Services. She's always been available to do sessions with students to actually explain a little bit more about Michigan Rehabilitation Services, when you should disclose, how they can help you. They can also help you with some technology. So I've had Michigan Rehabilitation Services provide technology for students that is needed, and it's actually not that difficult. The students would just have me write a short informational letter that they're registered with Disability Services here at the University of Michigan-Dearborn and the equipment that is needed. I've had Michigan Rehabilitation Services provide students software such as Dragon Naturally Speaking. I have also had a student that was able to get a complete laptop through Michigan Rehabilitation Services. So I feel that Michigan Rehabilitation Services is here for so many different reasons. And the reason that we are consistently asking Yolanda to come and talk to our students because it's not well utilized. All of these services are there and available for the students, but many times students are not taking advantage of the services that are available to them. Would you agree with that, Yolanda?
I would absolutely agree with that. I do believe that MRS is a very underutilized program, which is very beneficial. But one of the things that we have to get past, and I'm gonna get back into the PowerPoint, is to get away from the stigma that having a disability means that you are unable to do something. It simply means you may have to learn how to do something different, but it doesn't mean that you can't achieve your goals. And that's one of the reasons why I believe the program is underutilized, but very beneficial. So thank you, Ms. Walker, for stepping in for me, and I'll go back into the PowerPoint. And just moving forward about the participation and applying for the program. MRS is not an entitlement program, meaning everyone cannot participate in MRS services. MRS is an eligibility-based program, and our eligibility means that you have to have a disability to work with us. This is a program that is designed specifically for people who have disabilities, but who would like to increase their independence or find employment and don't know where to begin. That's where MRS falls in at. So if you do not have a disability, you will not qualify for this program. And if you're unsure if you have a disability or not, just give us a call and we'll be able to help you navigate those answers, because it's a lot of things that people don't know qualifies as a disability. That's a disability, and that's including diabetes and high blood pressure, arthritis and gout and things like that will have you fall under the lines of having a eligible disability to participate in the program. All services following the eligibility determination are based on a mutual agreement with your counselor. So when you come to MRS, you'll never hear me say, this is what you have to do, but you'll always hear me say, what is it you would like to see happen? And then I will give you every possible scenario to reach that goal, and the decision is finally up to you as the participant in the program. So I am not the leader of the services. I am the provider of the services and the assistance for the services, but the leader is the participant to get the services that they would like to reach their goal. So no one should ever tell you this is what you have to do. Again, we're talking about eligibility. And when you talk about eligibility and the workforce, you have to ask yourself these questions. Do I have a desire or the ability to work? Now, the word ability to work, a lot of people will say, well, I can't work. Well, you may not be able to do something that you did before, but it's work that you can do no matter what your disability is. I have people who are using mobilization devices and people who use hearing devices, and we have to do added stuff for vision for individuals to be able to perform a job task, an employment task that they would like to have done. So it's never I can, it's like, let's find a way that I can. Ask yourself, is my disability impairing my ability to find employment on my own? Not does my disability make it so I can't work, but is it interfering with me finding employment on my own? Do I not know how to advocate for myself? Do I not know how to communicate with employers when I'm trying to find employment? And is your condition making it difficult to prepare for, get, or keep a job? So where's your level of inclusion? Where do you think you should belong compared to where you can belong, which is in everyday normal life? And we help navigate all of that, from transportation to equipment, to advocacy. We have a disability division that will go out to a job and say that, you know, certain changes need to be made so they can perform their job safely. And the state is willing to cover the cost for sit-stand desks, to widen an entry, to add soft lighting or extra lighting for someone who may need these certain particular things done, lower a workstation for an individual. So there's a lot of different things that we can add on to. And not only do we help people find a job, but if you're already employed and you feel like your employment is in jeopardy because you have developed a disability or developed new symptoms with your disability, you can come in and work with us to maintain the employment that you already have. So do you require MRS services to obtain or maintain employment? So like I just said, we will be assisting with maintaining employment. If you're already employed and you feel like your employment is jeopardized, call us and let's talk about it. And then we can get advocacy team together to explain to your boss what your disability entails and what improvements we can make, which would also make your place of employment safer. So,
Yolanda, can I just ask the question?
Sure.
Since you're on this topic, I want to kind of go back to in this remote learning environment, many students are having difficulty actually getting testing to result in saying that they do actually have a disability. Does MRS help with that in any way?
We do. We help with emotional and mental health testing. If it's a physical testing and they don't have a steady doctor, we do have a partnership with a couple of different medical centers that will do evaluations to determine the level of an individual's disability. And then we can go off of that to begin services. Additional testing may be required where we have assisted individuals with getting health insurance so that the ongoing care that is needed can be provided with our guidance to make sure that everything is being covered and that they're receiving the services that they need out in the community so that our services can continue. So we do not bring someone in and just because they say they want a job, that we just go and place them somewhere. We do explore their stabilization in the community, in the home, to make sure that their everyday needs are being met before we put them in an employment situation, which may aggravate something that's already going on and has not been addressed properly. So we do like for all of our participants to have a medical provider to cover their services. And if they need a mental health provider, then we would, help them navigate. We explain to them what's available in the community. Once, again, we explain private practice versus CMH, and we go through doctors and let's find you what the people that you need to develop a team. We've even had conversations with people pharmacies, like they're having confusions with their medications. Can you have a patient conversation with them 2 or 5 minutes when they come pick up their medication to make sure that they are taking everything properly? And I've had pharmacists who set up entire programs and set up reminders for the patients and give them, pill containers and, set up reminders in their phone. So it's all about the community coming together to help stabilize every aspect of an individual, including the employment. So I would never want to take someone who is having issue with housing and put them in employment, because then that becomes an issue with hygiene, which then it may become an issue with them having the proper nutrition every day, and it may impact their job performance, which is not really an issue with their job performance, is that they have these other entities that hasn't been addressed that need to be addressed as a whole. So I, as a counselor, would prefer to send them into employment with their whole situation, their whole environment being explored and making sure everything is stable for them to go into work, and increases their chances at being very successful at what they do. Okay. So we talked about unsteady or your position in jeopardy because of a disability. Your position is far below your demonstrated abilities and capabilities. We have had success in going in and talking to employers about putting people in their correct place of employment with the right compensation and the right duties, and not look or show that because they have a disability that they may not be able to do something, and that's not their call. It's not my call, it's the individual's call of what they feel they can do and what assistance they need to have it done. And we also address if the conditions endanger the health and safety of the participant or any other employee, that if it's reported to us, we have to evaluate it to make sure that they are working in the proper conditions, not only to be successful, but to be safe. So in the beginning, I shared that myself as a counselor and most other MRS counselors would never say you have to do A, B, and C. Now, there are policies that we have to follow, and when you come in, you'll see the progression of the program. That stuff doesn't change. But you'll never hear anyone say you have to do this, you have to work here, you have to work these hours, you have to make this money. MRS is a partnership, and only way partnerships work if the individuals work together. So a relationship is formed with 2 or more people. Some of my participants have guardians, or they have support people that they would like to participate in their services. And then working as a partnership is the cornerstone of a successful vocational program. Because if I came in Judith, and I said that I need you to work in the bookstore. I don't want you to do what you're doing, and you will probably be really unhappy because you love what you do. And that's how I want the participants to feel like I'm getting the opportunity to do what I love to do. So it's not a dictated, everybody does this, everybody makes $10, everybody works 8 hours, everybody works like in Westland. None of that is true. It's, do you want to work full or part-time? Where do you want to work? What do you want to do? And I will never say, no, you can't do that. But I will share with you the work that it takes to get it done. And the decision is yours. I've had some programs, participants who were in the program for 6 weeks to some participants who've been in the program for 2 years. It depends on what it is you want to do and how you get there. So with that, we were just discussing this informed choice. When you say to me, this is my goal, I'll say to you, give me a week and come back. And when you come back in that week, every single thing that you have to do to achieve that goal, I will have printed out and ready for us to go over. Everybody who offers something, if you wanted to go to school, to say you want to go to culinary arts school, I will pull up every culinary arts school in the state of Michigan. So I won't just do around Dearborn. I'll do the whole state of Michigan. And I'll say, hey, you can move up to Plainwell because we have a school up there that does culinary arts. But here it is, 2,000 miles away from where you live at. They do provide housing, and you do get the experience that you want to get, but you have to live up there. Or here's a school right up the street on Michigan that teaches culinary arts. Their program is 9 months, and this is what it costs. And so I would do that for every single school that says that we teach culinary arts and we give certification in culinary arts, because I don't want you to just learn culinary arts. I want you to get the paper that says that you have successfully completed whatever you needed to complete to achieve that goal. And then I will have all of that laid out. And with all of that information, you get to make an informed choice of what it is you want to do. And then we go from there. So it's no, Ms. Steele said, this is how we're going to do it, so this is how we're going to do it. It's informed choice, and it's your choice. And that way, you can feel good about the decisions you made and have all the information and not just get the information of the program that say I like. It's all the information. And that is included with vendor services, with getting testing and examinations. I will give information for every tester that we work with, their location, their fees, their hours, how many people they see, whether they're male or female. I'll give you all of that information. And you say, this is what I decide. And sometimes, in some cases, some of my people have asked for face-to-face meeting or telephone meetings just to see if they feel a connection with the person. And I get that, and I set it all up so that you can make a decision that you can feel secure and happy with, and not just, I did it because Yolanda said so. So after we go through all of that, we will work on something called the Individual Plan for Employment. And this plan is an agreement between you and MRS that these are the steps I'll take. This is the assistance that MRS said that they would provide. This is the assistance that I would get from outside agencies. We work our best to keep everything to a service that we can provide. So there'll be no out of pocket. And that's one of the things that is really good about this program, that if a service is needed for you to be successful and to reach your goal, we provide it. And if we don't have that immediate type of service, then we go out and we make relationship and partnership so these services can be done. And as a result of that, vocational counseling a process has been set, and then the next thing we do is just execute the plan. So I'm going to go to school for 9 months, and then I'm going to do a job shadow, or I'm going to do a job shadow and then I'm going to go to school, and And when I finish school, then I'm gonna need job placement. And when I get job placement, I'm gonna need equipment or uniforms. And so all of this stuff goes into the plan, and it goes in that action. I'm going to job shadow, and then go to school, and then go to work, and then get the equipment I need to be successful at my job. And all of this is done through MRS and MRS partners. So I just think that it's a wonderful program, especially for people who are graduating from U of M, who have not decided what field they want to go in at U of M yet. Just call. I want to sign up for MRS. I need to do a job shadow. I may need some advocacy or assistance for school. Give us a call, because I am a personal experience of going to school for 3 years for something that I really didn't want to do, but it was kind of like the family trait. So job shadowing will give you the opportunity to make sure what looks glamorous from someone else doing it, or something you've seen on TV, you can kind of make sure that this is what I want to do. I spent a week or two and I've seen the work firsthand, and this is what I want to do. And that part, I think, is very important when it comes to making decisions. And here's the great thing about job shadowing is if you shadow somebody, say 3 or 4 days, and you realize that I totally did not have this job together, don't complete the job shadowing. Just call and say, I've changed my mind, because that's okay. Because that means that's one thing that we can scratch off the list, and then we'll come back and we'll explore and let's look at something else. Because I know Judith and Kathy can tell you that you don't want to take a bunch of classes that will make no sense to the program that you're really going to end up going to. So MRS can be utilized for that. And we help with internships. Ours are paid because they're called trial work experiences, but you get your internship, trial work experience, get the credits, and you get paid minimum wage for however many hours that is needed. So your entire plan is based on informed choice, which you will hear a lot when you sign up for MRS services. So we identify a suitable employment goal with your skills and your interests. The plan outlines the services that we talked about. It kind of timelines for providers. So if your school is a 9-month program, then we'll put it in there for 9 months. But if you're in a 2 or 4 year program, then we put it in there for 2 or 4 years. We don't do 6 weeks at a time, because then we'll be doing plans every 6 weeks. And your plan details your rights and your responsibilities. There are certain responsibilities that you have when you participate in MRS services. Like if you're a student, you have to provide grades in a timely manner, especially if we're providing financial assistance to help you finish your classes, because they want to make sure that you are passing your classes, because they don't pay for retakes. If you are working, then they want you to provide a check stub every month, just to kind of make sure that you're still working and that you are being paid what the employer said they would pay you. I had an individual who was being paid $7 an hour, and while the company kept telling me it was an oversight, I just felt like it was an oversight that would have kept happening if it had not been addressed. So if I had never got that check stub and caught that this is supposed to be $9.65, but it says $7, not only do you need to correct that, but she needs her back pay, because this is a check stub for a month period. And then at the end, I will write out a report that will define all successes. So if you did a trial work and you completed it, that's a success. When you enroll in the program and do orientation, that's a success, because you have taken time out of your day and participated and listened to an orientation and agreed to participate in a service that would positively impact your life. And I look at that as something that you've done successfully. And so for the next, we do the vocational guidance, the job placement, the employment training, medical services if they're not provided, accommodations with assistive technology, and Judith kind of touched on that with the Dragon, naturally speaking, and we do purchase laptops if they're needed to reach the goal, and other individualized assistance. So our programs don't look the same and won't be the same. So if you and a friend join MRS together, your services will not look the same because you are not the same people. So I just like to keep that in the forefront. It's an individualized program per participant. So it's a lot of boring stuff, but not really boring stuff. We talked about rights and responsibilities. I am a true advocate for people with disabilities, that they understand that they do have rights, but they also have responsibilities, and not just with MRS, just period. So in participating with MRS, there is a program called the Client Assistant Program. The Client Assistant Program is a free and confidential service independent of MRS. So the Client Assistant Program is available to anyone with a disability, and it's pretty much an assistant advocacy type of program that where if you feel like you are being discriminated against because of your disability, this program will look into it for you and kind of make contact with the entity to see who makes stuff better. So this is one of the biggest questions: who pays? So other benefits and services must be used when available and appropriate. So if you may need glasses and you have vision insurance, we would ask you to use your vision insurance first. But if you don't have vision insurance and you need glasses, we will provide the glasses for you. But we just have to make sure it's not covered from something else. If MRS pays for a service, it must be at the lowest cost to meet your employment goal. So it doesn't mean that we don't meet the employment goal, but we have to get, the 3 estimates and make sure the 3 estimates we get. If we get 3 estimates for a computer, we're not going to get a computer with 2 RAMs of memory and compare it to a computer with the 326 megabytes. I'm not a computer person, so I'm probably messing it up, but they have to be the same in order to be compared. And that is for medical services, where we have done dental services, vision services, hearing aids. We have provided walking devices for people who may have needed a cane or a walker. We have repaired automobiles. We've purchased new tires. We bought computers. But these are all things that I need this to get to my job. I need this cane in order to get to work and get through work on time.
Yolanda, I think Kathy has a chat for you, a question from the audience.
It might be a little off topic, but just a career services says that they are working with an alum who they suspect have OCD that's hindering their job search process. If that person is willing, could they refer them to you for assessment? Is that something you guys would work with?
Yes, we do have a psychologist that we work with, and so we will have them assessed. And OCD is a disability, so they would qualify for MRS services. And if the psychologists recommend counseling services, then we pay for at least 10 sessions with our counselors. And then if it's ongoing, then I would work with the individual to find those services in the community.
Okay. So you'll help with the OCD plus move on to help with the job search process if they need that process. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And Britta says, thank you, Yolanda.
Welcome.
Your services, she says, thank you.
So customer contribution. If financially able, MRS will ask you to help pay towards the cost of achieving your employment goal. We ask if an individual is receiving Social Security or another regular source of income, then what I do with my participants is we do a monthly budget. And if the budget is in a negative, or if it's close to zero, then there are no financial contributions at all. But if they have something left over at the end of the month, I had an individual pay $20 towards some hearing aids that cost $3,000. They just want to see if you can contribute something to the service that you need. So I do ask, and if they're not working, it's automatically they can't contribute, they're not working. But if you are working but you can't contribute, we do the monthly budget together, just to make sure that there is nothing in there that can be contribute. And that's just for me to put in my file to say that they can't contribute toward the cost of the service at this time. Budget is in the file, and that just covers everybody. So it's never feel like I'm not going to say I need something because they're going to make me pay for it. We just explore whether there's income coming in to you. No, my mom gives me a couple of dollars a month. We don't look into anything like that. If something comes directly to you as a financial contribution to your household on a regular basis, then we will explore whether you can pay into the service that you're providing. And if not, it's just documented as not. Okay, and so a lot of people shy away from that because they think, oh, if I say I need a hearing aid, they're gonna make me pay for it. Okay, so this is very, very, very important to me. And if someone comes to me for services, they'll probably get sick of filling these out. But if they call me and say, can you call AT&T because something is wrong with my phone bill and I need help, they're not understanding me, we got to sign a release. If you ask me to talk to someone at the corner store on your behalf, we have to sign a release. And it's for your confidentiality. So nothing will be released without your written consent. Not to your parents or not even to the person that refers you. It has to be a release form. So even if Ms. Walker refers you over and you say, Ms. Walker sent me over here for services, I would say, okay, let's do this release because I know I'm going to talk to Ms. Walker about you. Let's do this release now so I'll have it in the file. And that's just to make sure that it is okay for me to talk about your disability with another person. And then the consents are until your case closes with MRS, but you can send in a written notice to have it canceled at any time. So it does not have to be an ongoing thing. Okay, so if you are receiving disability, you can still work. A lot of people think if I'm receiving Social Security that I can't work. We do set you up with benefit counseling, and the benefit counselor will do their assessments, and then they will come back and tell you this is how many hours you can work or how much money you can make before it begins to impact your benefits. And so you will have that information in writing, and then we can move forward from there and saying, yes, Ms. Steele, he's saying that I can work 15 hours a week and I can make no more than $13 an hour. So I want to work part-time and, you know, make up to $13 an hour. And it wouldn't impact the benefits. Everybody's Social Security benefits are not the same. And that's why we do the benefit counseling for all participants who have Social Security. And that's just to make sure that you don't come in and start working and then lose your benefits. Now, if your plan is to begin to work full-time and let go of your benefits, then great, we can do that too. We also work with no fault insurance, working compensation programs, and long-term disability insurance companies. They refer individuals to us, but it's usually to evaluate whether they'll be able to return back to the same position with no accommodations or what the accommodations would be. But that wouldn't apply much with MRS. Because we work for the state, we will ask if you are registered to vote. And if not, we do have the voter registrations forms available for you to fill out, and we will mail them out to your office for you. So the thing that is next would be the opportunity to apply for services. This is the information for the office, but Judith, I did email you my referral form, didn't I? Like in March, I think I did. And if you need me to resend it, I will. We are currently working tele. Everything is from home now. So we do have one secretary who goes into the office and get applications and release forms and everything together and mail them to an individual who would like to participate in the program. If you refer someone to me, I will call them and do orientation with them over the phone. And then I will have the application mailed to them with the envelope to mail it back. And then we will begin the process. We are still doing evaluations, and we are still looking for employment if an individual is willing and want to work inside whatever field they want to work in right now. With the pandemic going on or whatever else, that we are still out doing those services. And if they just want to start with the education, I know some schools are doing most of their stuff online, so we're still helping with the education piece and the trainings. So as long as the trainings can be done or started online, then we follow up with them. So services and cases are still being open while we're working from home. And Ms. Walker has my referral form and my contact information. So if there are any questions, they can email me, they can call me, or whatever they feel more comfortable with. Okay, so does anyone have any questions?
Yolanda, I do have a question. So Michigan Rehabilitation Services, how does that best relate with disclosure for a person that's looking for a position? So by them working with Michigan Rehabilitation Services, is it automatically assumed by an employer that this person does have a disability? And usually would it be appropriate, because I imagine that there are situations where it would actually be appropriate to disclose your disability. Can you just talk on that a little bit?
Sure. I do ask the participant whether they want me to communicate with employers on their behalf, or if they rather me just give them the guidance and they do it themselves. Because it is implied that once MRS is involved, that the individual that we're assisting does have a disability. The disability and its individual status is never shared unless the individual says it's okay to share what the disability is. So, I'm sorry. It's a lot of different ways to navigate through and still receive our assistance while we remain in the background. But if the individual is comfortable with disclosing their disability, and if it is demonstrated that it will be helpful to get the things completed that we need to complete, especially with an individual who's already in employment, but their employment may be jeopardized and they have not disclosed that they have a disability at that present time, I would, explore it with them. Would they like for me to talk to the HR on their behalf? Do I need to get the disability division involved to go out to do an assessment of your workplace? And these kind of things would kind of move forward with the customers, the participants' agreement that it's okay to share. To disclose that I'm working with you is one level, and to disclose my disability is another level. Sometimes they're comfortable to say, yes, you can let them know I'm working with you, but I don't want them to know the individual aspects of my disability. So they can, try to assume what the disability is, but If they say don't disclose what my disability is, then we just don't. And I find a lot of success, and I find it to be beneficial for me to teach them how to advocate for their self instead of me doing all the speaking for them. So it's almost like I'm just a backroom consultant when they don't want to share that they're working with MRS, which is totally fine.
All right. Another question we received: are individuals on the autism spectrum eligible for services?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I work with Belleville High School. All of the counselors are assigned to high school, and I'm assigned to Belleville High School, and I specifically work with their autism students. So yes, and I have a couple of adults on my caseload who have autism. So absolutely. Absolutely, because we work with other entities in the community. So if I get an individual who needs supported employment, and so that means like they need a job coach to kind of come in and work and, you know, either get them set up for the day or just come in and out throughout their shift, or however they see it needs to be done. We set that up and follow it for like a year or two, but then we connect them with an agency that will do it ongoing.
I have another question, Yolanda. So you talked about providing different equipment, technology, and once again, in this remote learning environment that we're in, every student needs a capable laptop or computer to actually be involved in school. So I know that you said you do provide it. Has there been any extra funding provided to MRS in order to help the many students that may not have the appropriate technology?
It has not been any extra funded added at this time. And that is something that we were discussing with our management team, that we're doing everything from home and our participants can't do everything from their cell phone at this time. So we just wanted to figure out how are we going to navigate through this. And so we're trying to make partnership with, you know, Best Buy and places like that. So then we don't pay full price for certain things, but that is still something that's in the making, because we know that we'll be providing that kind of assistance a lot more than we have in the past. Okay. Is there any more questions? I'm sorry if y'all hear that. I'm in this group email and they won't stop emailing.
We understand. So, and we know that Judy has your contact information, so we can share that out with VAST. Is there a better way to contact you? Do you prefer phone calls? Do you prefer the email to get started?
Whatever the participant is best comfortable with. My cell phone number is in my signature line in my email. My entire contact methods are there in my email. So whatever they are most comfortable with. Some people are more comfortable with emailing, which I'm fine as long as the email is not 2-day lag in response when we're trying to get stuff done. So I do give my cell phone number. I give my office number, which is connected to my cell phone, and my email out to anybody who is interested in the program or who have more questions. And my cell phone number, which I can just give out right now, is 248-450-8157. My cell phone is on and answered Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. If I'm not in a meeting, then I'll answer it right away. If I'm in a meeting or assisting someone else, then I will call you back, usually the same day when I'm free, to just see what the nature of the call was. My email address is Steele, STEELE, the letter Y, @michigan.gov. And Michigan is spelled out all one word. Those are the two best ways to reach me right now.
Okay. Yolanda, I just want to say once again, thank you so much for joining us. It's once again a wealth of very important information. And I feel that disability services at the University of Michigan-Dearborn, along with yourself, Michigan Rehabilitation Services, we are in the work of being barrier breakers. And I feel that you are doing an excellent job with that. We value your partnership. And I just want to thank you for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome. And I appreciate you guys just as much. It inspires me to see the work that you guys do at the university. We share a couple of students who speak very, very highly of you. And sometimes I'd be like, just leave Miss Judith alone and you know, let's figure this out. But they always say, I'm going to talk to Miss Walker. And I just, Miss Walker is so helpful. So that I truly appreciate, and I see the dedication in you and Kathy. It has been a total honor for me to meet you and to work with you. You are very pleasant, and just to be able to be a part of a team that's helping individuals to rethink what their options are is absolutely beautiful to me.
We echo that.
Okay. So if anyone has any questions, you can filter them through Kathy or Judith. If you didn't get my contact information, you can get it from them. And just call me, even if you just have a question and not for sure if MRS is still the program for you. They can just call me and I can go over any individual questions that they may have and may not want it to ask on the webinar.
Perfect.
Okay.
And this will be posted at a later date on our website, so your contact information will also be there. All right, thanks again. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Somebody, oh.
Just very helpful. Many thanks.
Thank you.